Hi, I'm Liss. The name of the program is The Way to Go. I invite you to join me each week at this time as we explore places to go and things to do. We're going antiquing today. Once again, the time is here for the Antique Dealers of America show at the Westchester County Center in White Plains. And I'm glad to welcome back today John Russell, who is the president of the ADA, and we'll talk about antiques and what's happening. But there's a lot of emphasis this year on a subject called vetting, vetting, vetting. What is vetting? It's a term that I've heard but never really understood.
Well, Norman, vetting is a process that is been practiced for many years in Europe, in England, and on the continent at antique shows. And this process is really an in-depth examination of the materials being offered by the antique dealers, by other dealers, by experts in the field. This process has been very successful there, and the ADA brought it to America about 10 years ago. In an effort to help us not only learn, but to guarantee to the general public the materials that we are offering.
How does it work?
Well, we have a show of 43 dealers, and after the show is set up and the wares are spread out and labeled, they are then examined by panels of experts. And these panels are comprised of dealers within the ADA, outside of, and separate private organizations. They will come in and they spend an entire day going over every single item.
Every single item in the show?
Well, there are difficulties. There
thousands.
They are. The single hardest area to examine is American furniture. It's the most involved. It's not that the pieces number so great, but that they are so involved. I mean, there are booths with literally thousands of pieces of glass and porcelain that have to be examined, but the time to examine them is not necessarily equal to but a few pieces of furniture.
So what's the purpose now? Of course, it's the assurance to the buying public that what they're looking at is what it says to be. Is everything labeled?
Everything, as to age, origin, and condition. All items are also labeled to price, but price is not a subject that vetting gets into. It's not something they investigate in any way. They don't take it into consideration.
So every item in the show has a label which indicates its authenticity, right?
Correct.
And whether it's been altered or not.
Repaired, restored.
And they go through these labels to make sure that what is said is accurate?
Exactly.
Where are the dealers at this time?
The dealers are in New York.
They're not there?
They're not there. No, they have a day off. They can take in a show. They can go elsewhere. They can antique in Westchester. They can do a lot of things, but they're
not there.
They're not there.
And then what happens if they find something that isn't accurate?
The vetting committee, no single individual, but the entire committee must decide and agree upon any changes. And the changes can range from very simple labeling to, there was a repair found that is not labeled, and we think that it is significant enough to be included in the condition report on the object, and we'd like that included. Minutia would not be something that we would want to get into. I mean, every little condition is not necessarily something that will be brought
It's
up.
more of an assurance to the public that what is said is accurate.
Exactly.
And I would imagine, since this has been going on with ADA for some time now, that the people who are exhibiting are aware that they're going to be vetted and it's going to be looked at, and therefore they label things accurately. It's not so much the finding as much as these are the standards to which you must adhere.
Condition of membership to ADA is based on the fact that all members will do this on a regular basis, whether it be in their shop or at another show. They must guarantee absolutely, regardless of the venue, and regardless of whether or not it's been vetted.
And so anything that is found is discussed with the dealer, who then makes whatever changes are necessary.
Or appeals.
Or appeals.
Because in many instances, the dealer might know something that pertains that the vetting committee doesn't, because the ADA is comprised of experts.
It must set an awfully high standard to have a show that is vetted, and it has a standard for the people who are exhibiting, and it has a standard for their competitors, and it has a standard for the public.
I think that if ADA didn't have such high standards of its membership, that a simple one-day vetting process of an entire show would not be possible. There is that situation where if you pre-vet your exhibitors, if you will, the job of vetting becomes much easier.
Now, this show is from September 8th to September 10th at the Westchester County Center in White Plains. Now, this is a show, actually, which is put on by the dealers themselves, as opposed to one to which dealers are invited. The ADA puts on this show.
Exactly. There is no promoter for this show. The ADA was founded some 12 years ago. Not so much as a backlash against show promoters, but at that time there were one or two promoters that literally told dealers what they would sell, where they would sell it, and how they would do it. There was no body that spoke for dealers.
Now, when someone comes to the show, there are certain things that are taking place. Of course, all these dealers have their particular exhibits and people can see them, but you have some special events. Why don't we go into what they are?
Sure. We're having for the second year a loan exhibit, which is entitled "Let Knowledge Be Your Guide," and the dealers exhibiting and the other members of ADA have loaned special objects for exhibit here that we will purposely mislabel. We will encourage the examination of these pieces by our patrons in an effort not so much to trick them but to teach them. Simple things, chairs that we might have a Boston chair, and we will label it Philadelphia. And then we will point out the differences between the two. There will be a questionnaire with answers, if you will. No one's being graded, no one's being really tested. Plus, there are dealers there that will help explain, if anyone has any questions, what the differences might be. And hopefully they're subtle enough that though they're apparent, that everyone can learn from them.
So the question then is, how sophisticated are the people who come to the show? Do you have to be sophisticated about buying antiques, or
No.
is it an opportunity to learn?
Hopefully that's what it will be. I mean, we would like this to be as simple a process for anyone that comes to White Plains. We'd like them to look, to examine, to learn, and hopefully to buy things, knowing that what they're looking at has been examined and re-examined and re-examined and authenticated by many prior to the doors being opened.
Which brings up the question, which always comes to my mind, is how does one get started? I don't know anything about antiques. I've never bought any. I know that people go antiquing all the time. What do you do? How do you get started?
I don't have an answer. I think that each person that has chosen to collect or to furnish has their own particular reason. I started as a collector for a number of years before I became a dealer, simply because I was drawn to antique forms. I found them attractive. I was inspired to learn about them, and I guess I've always been slightly acquisitory. I wanted to own them. And that's what started me. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I collected my way into the business.
Now, did you know anything about it when you started? How did you educate yourself?
In the business or collecting?
Collecting.
I knew nothing. I had a friend that was a collector. I was visiting with him, and he offered to sell me something that I found attractive, and I bought it. And frankly, it was an American object, and I was living in Europe at the time, which does make collecting Americana difficult. But I took with me books. I learned the names of a couple of good dealers in that category, and I pursued it.
You said it's something important. You had a friend who was a collector, so it does help to know someone who is involved. So if you start to go antiquing, as I've heard the term used, that it helps to go with someone who understands, and then read about it and educate yourself until you're on your own. I suppose it's true of almost anything, really.
Well, there are many different opportunities to learn without incurring any cost or minimal cost. I mean, there are museums, there are auction houses, which afford you the ability to examine and to see what prices are given.
During the viewing times that they have, yes.
There are many open shops. There are antique shows. One doesn't have to buy to learn.
Why do people acquire antiques?
That, again, is an individual
investment.
Some, it's not the traditional reason, though.
Can you make a lot of money in acquiring antiques?
Not the way I've done it, but yes, in truth, there have been fortunes made in the antique arena. Not necessarily the business, but in long-term investment. Usually this involves
long-term investment.
Yes, and getting into categories that are dormant at that time, and buying very selectively.
Are there such things as undiscovered treasures?
Yes. Yes, there are.
With all the people who are involved, and have you found any good ones?
Yes. Last year at the show, I was very fortunate to find not an undiscovered item. I found a wonderful piece of Shaker furniture that had been reported in many texts, but it had never been seen by the general public. It had never been offered for sale, and it did show up there. And I acquired it during pre-show, and sold it to one of my clients. But other than having heard very vague references to it in catalogs and in reference materials, I had never seen it, nor had any other Shaker collector.
I want to get back to some special event that's taking place, but first I do want to tell our viewers that we're talking about the Antique Dealers of America show, which will be at the Westchester County Center from September 8th to September 10th, and I'm talking today with the president of ADA, John Russell. So there is another event taking place during the course of the show, and that's a special event, and I know you want to talk about that. And
yes.
It's kind of an exciting thing for people who are interested in antiques.
And to those that have been in the trade for a number of years, probably the two deans of American antiques will conduct not a lecture, not really a planned talk in any way, but Zeke Liverant and Albert Sack, who have collectively been in the business around 140 years,
One of them is 120 years old, and the other is 20.
Yes, yes, and I would leave it to their families and friends to decide who was who. But they both come from long-term family associations in the business, and they have decided to discuss their experiences in the business and to allow others to join in. They're not so much interested in talking about trends and necessarily specifics other than personalities and the occasions that they've had to enjoy this business or not.
Is this something that the general public would be interested in, since they're talking about personalities and experiences and anecdotes?
I think that people not even interested in antiques might enjoy it.
Why is that?
Because these gentlemen are characters, and they have very distinct, wonderful personalities. They're combatants at times. They're friends at other times. They've enjoyed sort of parallel businesses over decades, generations, if you will, and. I think that the stories that they have to tell are pertinent. They're something that we could all not only enjoy but perhaps learn from. And I don't mean just in the antique sense.
That's on Saturday at 2:30.
It is
2:30. Now the show has been in the past 2 days, but you added a Friday a portion of it this year, haven't you? So it's going to be 3 days actually.
We're going to open Friday at 4 o'clock and run till 8. The reason for that is so many people that attend live in Columbia County and Litchfield County and are leaving New York City for their weekend escape and drive by the county center. It's difficult for them on Saturday to wake up in the morning and point the car back towards New York when it's not Sunday night or Monday morning. They've asked us to open the show, and we've consented.
So you really expanded in another way, too, in that people are coming from a wider area than in the past. The dealers are from as far west as California, from what I understand.
Yes, this year we have a number of new dealers. We have a number of dealers coming from different areas, representing different interests in the antique market.
Is there anything... Well, this may sound like a stupid question. Is there anything new in antiques?
I think that there are different focuses. I think that
it changes.
Yes, what's hot today might not be tomorrow. We are very much a conservative group, antique dealers.
What's hot today, John?
Hot today is American folk art, sculptural folk art. There have been a number of large collections that have been put together this century that have sold off in the last 2 years, and the market is extremely strong in that area, both in New England and Pennsylvania.
Does someone like yourself who specializes in furniture, does someone like yourself get into folk art as well?
Oh, yes. In some instances, furniture becomes folk art. Our ancestors chose often to decorate not only their homes but their furniture. Their furniture was a decorative object, and whether it be a simple china cupboard or an overmantel in their dining area, these would be embellished, these would be painted, these would be inlaid, and they became art of the craftsman, really.
You mentioned the fact that collections became available. That, of course, is something that happens at different times. People amass a collection, and then for reasons, which can be many, I suppose, they sell off that collection, or their heirs sell off that collection. And suddenly the market has some new items which they knew existed, but were not available. Is that happening all the time?
All the time. As you said, there are many, many reasons that things are sold off. There are people leaving the market and people entering the market all the time. And because of this flow, there is a continuation of interest at a certain level, but with different people.
Where do the items that they sell off go? What is the chain of distribution? Do they go to auction houses? Do they go to dealers? Do they go to auction houses to dealers, to the public? How does it happen?
The wonderful, exciting part of the antique business is that there is no direct route. There is no sameness from day to day. There is no formula that has to occur. A person might choose to buy things directly from a collector. There might be a level between the collector and the source, which might be a dealer, it might be an auction house. There might be 20 people in between. A masterpiece, and this has happened more than once, has surfaced and gone through 10 hands without anyone realizing that it was a masterpiece. It was just an object.
When does it become a masterpiece?
When I have it. No. It becomes a masterpiece. Let's say that it always was a masterpiece. It becomes a masterpiece when someone that is familiar enough with the material in that specific area recognizes it as such. I bought a great shaker revolving stool. There are 4 or 5 known, from a collector who was intelligent enough 20-some years ago at a New York City auction to understand that this was a shaker stool, not a piano stool that it was being sold as. So the auction house didn't realize what they had, but the collector did in that instance.
Now, a dealer buys for himself for resale.
Yes.
So, a dealer is not an agent who
He could be.
He could be that too.
Mm-hmm. There's no formula. There's no defined way that any transaction must be followed.
Is there a preponderance of purchases that are done in one way as opposed to another way? Are most things bought through auction houses, for example? Are most things bought through dealers who own them?
Or have them, they can be working for a consignor, or they can be working for a collector. In both ways, I had an experience years back whereby I had a major collector sell his entire collection off through me, and I sold it entirely to another collector, bit by bit, piece by piece, month by month. It took years.
You said it's not a short-term investment.
Oh, no, it's not. It's but one party wanted to sell everything, the other party wanted to acquire everything, and that process took a long time. For the
Availability of funds?
No, I think that what allowed each thing to be special was the process. I mean, I don't know about other people, but when I buy 10 objects, the specialness of each can lose a bit in the transaction. I like to buy one thing and then another thing and another, and most people are like that. When you buy everything, it's a bit overwhelming. The specialness of each new acquisition is lost.
We want to make sure that people understand that we're talking about the Antique Dealers of America show, which will be at the County Center in White Plains from September 8th to 10th. And we do want to give a telephone number that people can call where they can get further information. So what is that number?
They can call 763-8144.
And we'll put that up in the closing credits so people can write it down if they haven't done that in time. The whole subject is one that I don't understand, whether it's value or beauty or pride of acquisition. I remember when I spoke to you last, you said that you have antique furniture that you put your feet up on at home.
But
What is
not
it?
my golf spikes. I mean, it's
Your-
the use of most most furnishings is still possible as long as one cares for them and utilizes them, and doesn't abuse them. There's certainly no reason why we couldn't be sitting in antique chairs and have an antique table between us.
But what is the drive? What is it that people buy for? And which of the reason? Investment, you say?
No,
Unless it's long term.
I think investment is not a good reason necessarily to buy antiques. I think that people buy antiques primarily because they love the things. They love the heritage that is transmitted with old objects. They like being reminded of where they came from and what their ancestors utilized and thought was beautiful. I think there are traditional values in that.
It's like a state of mind, isn't it?
Well, we create what we think.
And is the field growing?
No, I think it's shrinking.
Why?
I think that it's an area whereby there are far fewer things for sale than used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Most people will retain their antique holdings or pass them down generation to generation.
Well, we've shrunk out of time.
Okay.
I know the time goes fast when we're talking about a subject that is as interesting as this, and I thank you very, very much for coming today. And the subject today has been antiques, and we're talking about the Antique Dealers of America, a show at the Westchester County Center from September 8th to September 10th. My guest today has been John Russell, the president of the ADA. It's an interesting show. Learn about antiques. I'm Norman Liss. The name of this program is The Way to Go, and until next week at this time, enjoy yourself. And